Alright you guys, so to begin the haircut, I'm first going to start off on the top section of his head. So right here, I'm just making sure that I'm wetting my client's hair, making sure that it's completely saturated with water. That way I'm really able to control the hair and make it a lot easier for my scissors. So since I am kind of doing a type of comb over, I'm going to be starting off in the left section of his head, and that's basically going to be the longest point on the top, and that's going to be my guideline, starting off in the front and then working my way all the way to the back. And you guys are going to notice that I'm gonna be cutting a lot more as I'm going towards the back. That way the front is longer than the back. To me, when the front is longer than the back, it just gives the haircut like a completely different shape, and it just makes it flow a lot better. So now here I'm moving on to the middle section. I'm basically just going to continue off what I had on the left side, making sure that I'm cutting all of those long hairs. And if you guys notice, the very tip of my fingers are kind of in a downhill angle, just because once I get over to that side, it's gonna get a lot shorter than the very left side. And the reason for that is once I go in and comb the hair over, I want it all to lay down nice and even. I don't want any heavy spots on the very right side, because that's just gonna look like a line and it's gonna look bad. So now working on to the right side, you guys are gonna see that I'm actually going kind of where the fade is gonna end, and that's basically gonna be the shortest point. So I'm gonna go around the entire head, and then I'm gonna start working my way back up and kind of connecting the right side to the middle. So now at this point, what I'm doing is going in with a blow dryer. That way I'm trying to get the hair to lay down exactly how it needs to lay down before I do any of the fading. And this is going to save us a step at the very end, because once I go in at the very end with the clipper over comb, it should basically finish off the transition from the fade to the top. So now for this haircut, I am going to be leaving the hooks, and for me, like, the easiest way to outline the most natural hook possible is to actually do it before you actually start the fade. And I am using my gold FXs, and these are strictly just to do outlines and lineups, and that's because I have the blade so sharp to where it's kind of uncomfortable just to go ahead and knock down any bulk. Alright you guys, so now to go ahead and begin to set in the bald guideline, I'm using the black influencer FXs, and since I am leaving the hook, I'm gonna be starting off my guideline about midway from the temple peak point all the way to the bottom of his sideburn, and kind of going around the ear and making sure that I drop it once I go towards the back. Now the reason why I'm dropping it is kind of just to keep that nice shape. I kind of want to end the fade exactly where his head starts to round out, like kind of right above the occipital bone. I find that that would be a nice shape for the haircut. So here's nothing really too crazy. I'm just going in with my shavers just to make sure that the fade is nice and bald. And the shavers that I'm using are my go-to. They are the Endless Profoil shaver. I find that these are the best in my opinion, just because they're very durable and they're very powerful. I found that when I was using the wall shaver, I constantly had to switch out the foil because it was constantly breaking on me. So for my weapon of choice for this haircut, I went with the Oster Fast Feeds. You guys know how much I love these Oster Fast Feeds. They are a dope clipper. I feel like they leave such a soft blend, so I definitely had to use them on this haircut. But here I'm starting off with no guard with the lever all the way open, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and create a guideline by going up about an inch. So now to help me get rid of the bottom line, I'm going back into my trimmers and just kind of bumping up the bottom line about 1/4 of an inch up. And even though my fast feeds are zero gapped, they do need that little bit of help to get rid of the bottom line. So now switching back to my Oster Fast Feeds, this time with the lever all the way closed, I'm going to continue to blend out the bottom line, going up about 1/4 of an inch. Now using the lever at the halfway point, I'm going to continue to blend up the bottom line about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm making sure that I'm not touching the very top line, because that would just cause the bottom line to continue to go up, and I don't want that. And for all the new barbers out there, I really want you guys to pay attention to the noise that your clipper makes. You guys want to make sure that your clipper is actually cutting something and you're not just going up and down without your clipper actually doing something. Like I found anytime I was trying to teach anybody that's trying to become a barber, I found that when they were actually going in, they were actually not touching the line at all. So just very important, make sure that when you guys are going up, make sure that the clipper is actually cutting. Alright, so now moving on to the next step, which I have the zero guard attached to the Oster Fast Feeds with the lever all the way open, and we're going to go ahead and create a new guideline, this time going up about 1/2 an inch. So now at this point, I'm actually going to be down fading, going from the top to the bottom. So here I have the lever at the halfway position, and I'm going just underneath where I had the lever all the way open to start to down fade. And for these steps, I'm basically just going to be using the corners for the most part. So now I'm closing the lever all the way, and then once again, just using the corners, just trying to do as much detail work as I can to get rid of the bottom line. So right here I'm going back to my previous step just to do a little bit of touch-up work. I find that works the best for me to do touch-up work as I'm going, because if I wait till the end, there's a big chance that I'm gonna forget exactly what guard I used to create that line, and I'm basically just gonna be wasting a lot of time just trying to figure that out. So if I do the detail work as I'm going, it's gonna make my life a lot easier. So now moving on to my next step, this time I have the number 1 guard attached to the Oster fast feeds. Once again, starting with the lever all the way open, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new guideline, once again going up about 1/2 inch. So now I'm closing the lever all the way with the number 1 guard just to do a little bit more detail work right there. Now I find that these steps are actually one of the easiest steps to follow just because you're basically just going up in order, starting from the lowest guard all the way to the top, starting with the open lever and then working your way down to blend out the bottom line. Now for these steps, I wouldn't really recommend you doing them for, I would say, like a low fade, just because I find that when I do these steps, I really am just stretching out the blend, and that's what causes like the really blurry type of fade. But I find that if you're doing any type of low fade, I find that it's best to do a system where you could actually skip steps. I don't know if that makes sense. Alright you guys, so now I have the 2 guard attached to my Oster fast feeds, and once again, starting with the lever all the way open, I'm actually going to go ahead and start to knock down the bulk that I have right there on the side, not necessarily going up way too high, but just kind of lightening up the side area. So now right here, just to save the long hair at the very front, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually go ahead and clip away a nice section, starting off at the corner of the top lineup and then working my way towards the very middle. I'm gonna just clip that hair away. That way when I go in with the clipper over comb, all I'm blending in is the hair that's gonna be laying down. So now here, when I'm using the clipper over comb, I want to find my guideline, which was a number, what was it, the 2.5 or the 1 guard all the way open, and I'm gonna just kind of continue that all the way up. Now moving on to the front lineup, what I like to do is I try to find the most natural part to where like the side lineup is the darkest, and that's kind of like what I go off of. Because if I'm just lining up the baby hairs, it's really not gonna make it stand out too much. So now for the very top, I always like to go ahead and start off in the very middle of his head and then just kind of complete one side. And then once I work my way over to the other side, I just want to try to match it as best as I can while leaving it as natural as I can. So now to style the top of his hair, I will be using this level 3 styling gel, and I find that this gel actually is a really light hold compared to a lot of the other ones that I've used, which I kind of do like and I kind of don't, just because like when I use it on myself, my hair is naturally like really frizzy, so when I use this product it doesn't really last that long just because of that light hold. But I mean, I guess it works good. So now I'm using my roller brush just to kind of spread the product out nice and evenly, and also just to give the haircut the shape that I want. Alright you guys, well that was the cut. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Also, don't forget to leave your guys' feedback in the comment section down below. And if you guys didn't like this haircut, you guys are more than welcome to click off this video. No, I'm just kidding. If you guys didn't like it, hit that thumbs down. I mean, any feedback is great feedback. But if you guys would like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Zepeda the Barber, and I just recently created my TikTok. So if you guys would like to follow me on there, it is the exact same thing, Zepeda the Barber. It's at the very top left hand of your screen. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. But once again, I really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your guys' support. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.